Hi, we're Access Rock. I'm Sajko, and today I get to talk to Frost of Satyricon right after the last gig of the Dawn of the New Age tour. 2 hours of just incredible magic, in my opinion. How do you do that?
I believe Satyricon has a very good place at the moment, and much of it probably comes from there. We carry a high spirit, and that's a spirit that we bring with us from the rehearsal place, and we take it with us when we go on tour. The situation has been like that for a while now. That after the process we went through leading up to the Satyricon album, we feel that there are many doors that have been open for us, and now we're like searching through those new rooms that are part of our musical world, and we have found new ways of working that are stimulating and very motivating. We are jamming a lot, we are doing things in a much less stiff way, and there are less standards and conventions that we follow. And that kind of releases some energy, and it brings a creative flow, and eventually it leads to a very motivated band. And I think that a motivated band is what you need on stage to bring out that raw energy, that attitude, and the feeling.
Yeah.
That is the foundation for a black metal live show with that kind of nerve. So I guess that these live shows are pretty much demonstrating what moves in Satyricon right now. It demonstrates what kind of spirit there is, what kind of energy there is, and I think that it showcases a band that are determined to march into the future with the banner lifted,
Yeah.
and weapons ready. That's where we are.
Yeah, because you set out to do something quite differently with this tour than what you've been on before.
Yeah, we want to do things differently because we feel that the band doesn't really work according to many established standards and conventions for the genre. We have gotten rather tired of them, and we feel that live music was in a golden age, perhaps in the late 60s and 70s with the rock and hard rock bands of that time. And when you watch old video clips of bands from that era, like the leading bands of the time, and watch the kind of energy and spirit there is, you just can't get by it. It's totally awesome and very inspiring, and that pioneer spirit is something that we connect to in a very deep way. We want to have something of that in our own band. It's quite unconventional for the genre, and especially of our time. Nonetheless, this is now an important factor for Satyricon. When we are in our rehearsal studio, we jam, we try to be creative, and we try to let the music lead us a little more than always doing the same things all over again and being in a routine.
And also you invited fans to come up on stage with you to jam.
Yeah, these routines that bands have a tendency to fall into after a while are something that we want to break free from. We want to do that in the rehearsal place, and we want to do that when we go on tour. Hence we have very, very varied set lists. We jam, we have guest musicians, and we try to bring in these choral arrangements that we had on the opera show. We are anyway touring with that live at the opera album, so bringing in something of that feels very correct. And there's something very fresh about those arrangements. I like them a lot, and those songs that now have them in a synthesized form, but which are still based on the compositions made for the opera show, will make the songs sounds very different. I guess you witnessed that yourself,
yeah.
and there's a grandness and a ceremonial feeling to those songs that is way above what was there originally, even if the songs probably had some of that. And by and large, there is very much that feels a little different. There are tweaks and twists, there are dynamic sets, there are jams. Sometimes we present new material that isn't really finished, and even being finished songs at this stage, but we still, we play them for an audience, and sometimes we improvise, and I think there are things we have done on this tour that might end up on our next album. When we do it like that, it reflects where we are, and I think that it gives us the energy to think forward as well. There's a lot of motivation, and it keeps us alert, and we will never fall into a boring routine as long as we do it that way. And perhaps one of the best moves you can do, as long as a basic intention is to be a passionate and creative band, which Satyricon is.
Yeah. Do you have much material written for a new album?
Yeah, I would say it's quite a lot. All in all, probably exceeding half an hour, but not one finished song at this point. We have lots of bits and pieces and lots of ideas and well, some almost finished songs, but there's a lot of very exciting material, very diverse, but it's evident that it's inspired material and nothing we made simply because we have nothing better to do.
Well, that's great. I've heard something about a potential cover album. Is that
that's happening as well. So we're entering all these weird projects now, but it kind of feels right. We want to do a cover album. We have already picked quite a few songs for that album. Half of it, I guess, at this point. And yeah, I refuse to reveal which songs they are going to be. I mean, at this point, we don't know which songs will end up on the album, because, as I said, we have picked like half of them at this point and rehearsed those songs. And there is still, half an album to fill. And yeah, we have some candidates, but we haven't made up our mind entirely, and we won't enter the studio until late this year, I suppose. On this tour, we have played "Holiday in Cambodia" by Dead Kennedys a couple of times, so that is very likely to end up on the album then.
Alright.
And a few others. We do no obvious covers, then that would make no sense, at least not where we are now. We want to do songs that are somehow challenging or musically interesting for us to do, in order to perhaps, get in touch with a different nerve or a different kind of energy or a different kind of musical thinking. But we also are careful to choose songs that somehow has a meaning for us, songs that have shaped us as humans or musicians, and songs that may have inspired us on some level. But they are definitely going to be like the odd choices, and not one of the songs would be one of those that easily could be imagined to be on a cover album by a black metal band. So we want to be a little unpredictable, and I guess people are up for a surprise, perhaps even we are. As I said, we haven't picked all the songs, and let's see what ends up there. I think it's going to be a pretty eclectic mix.
Yeah, you're doing all of these unconventional things. I was wondering that live at the opera show, what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, you talked about magic earlier, and that was truly magic. To be there and to experience it, of course, that's a fond memory for life for all of us that took part. It was something really extraordinary for us. We know that the singers in the choir thought about it. We have had several people coming to us and telling that this was the highlight of their musical career that far. They had never done anything that moved them so much. So I guess that has to mean something. And we know a little about crowd reactions. We have talked to some people that were there, and it was very clear that this came true in a very, very strong way for many people. And that's all you can ask. If you achieve that, I think that you must somehow be satisfied no matter what. And for us, we were very, very certain after having performed one song with that choir in early 2012. At the it was a closed event, and we were basically invited to participate, and we thought that it was a great opportunity coming our way to get to perform with the choir, and we picked the song To the Mountains. And afterwards, we were convinced that we had to do a full show with the choir, and we wanted to do it at the opera. And it turned out that those that needed to get involved were all very, very positive. And I guess that tells a little about where Satyricon are standing also.
Yeah.
But most importantly, we managed to pull it off, and what a great event that was. And finally, the album and the DVDs that documented the event are now here. So we feel that this is something very significant and important, and I hope that people that didn't get the chance to witness the show will get a serious glimpse of what it was about, and at least the music recorded is still a unique musical work, especially written and only performed at that show. So it's in many ways a collection of different songs, because there's definitely something that makes these songs more than just versions with a little twist. They are to some extent very, very different, and to all of them there is something very significant being added.
So what new age is dawning for Satyricon? What do you see in the future?
I see creative and high-spirited future for Satyricon. I think that we are to some extent there already, and we're gonna build on that, and we're gonna bring lots of fuel to that conquering fire that is burning. I mean, Satyricon has always been about a particular passion and about innovation and about the conquering spirit, and it is definitely there with us now. I feel very certain that the future holds very, very productive and good things for us. Exactly what they are, we can't tell, and that's how I want it to be. We would like to be a little unpredictable. Not only to the external world, we want to be a little unpredictable to ourselves. That's really what keeps us going. And, with our new way of doing this, I think that we are really at that place where we want to be.
And at that place where you can do anything, basically.
Pretty much so. I mean, it feels a little pretentious almost to bring it that far, but yeah, at least there's a feeling of many opportunities and possibilities, and for a creative musician, that's about the best feeling you can have.